It is officially the last quarter of the year, and you know what we're not doing. That's waiting until the new year to make shifts that could actually be implemented right now. Don't worry, this is not another wake up at 5 a.m., drink water habits video. These are 10 micro habits that will completely change your life, your mental health, and how you show up in your business, just like they did for me. So you can officially exit your stressed out, overwhelmed, distracted era. And honestly, most of them you probably have never heard anyone talk about them in this way. Not these dramatic changes that's going to disrupt everything you've been doing. I'm talking about the small, totally overlooked habits that help me regulate my nervous system, stay grounded in God, and actually enjoy building and scaling my business. Whether you're 1 year in your business or you're at a point in your business where you're making $1 million a week, know that these tiny, practical, and honestly random shifts are going to transform the way that you think, the way that you work, and the way that you show up. Hi sister, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm Mikaela, and I help powerhouse women like you amplify their authority, scale their already thriving business to the next level, and live a life of fulfillment with God by their side. If that's something you're building, go ahead and subscribe because I break it all down here. In case you want more from me, more than just my YouTube videos, you can check out my best-selling program, Printed Product to Profit, any of my other digital products like Content to Millions, or The Inner Circle, the only place in the industry where leaders come to accelerate their business, amplify their voice, and multiply their movements rooted in God. Like always, they're in the description below. The most important task you want to do to ensure that you leave your disconnected, stressed out era in the past is to realign. Because let's be honest, when you're a high achieving woman running a business, and that includes content creators, discipline isn't enough. You can still have structure, strategy, systems, and still constantly feel anxious or behind. The truth is, your habits are only as healthy as the heart posture behind them. This is coming from someone who used to always have panic attacks, the CEO of procrastinating, and someone who constantly had to have music on or just be around others just to avoid my thoughts. It was really hard for me to face myself because of shame. But that was the exact action I needed to take for my life to change. So now the first thing I do to truly understand why I'm feeling how I'm feeling so I can get to the root is journaling. So I started tracking and documenting all of the things that shifted my energy, my peace, my focus, and also this is where I realized what was hindering me. The mindsets, the actions, the habits that kept me from being who I know I was called to be. Journaling is like therapy. You've been suppressing how you feel. You've been holding it in, not expressing yourself because you may feel like less of an authority or others may perceive you as less than. Just know journaling will help you address those emotions because being stressed can manifest in so many different ways, like doom scrolling on Instagram for a quick dopamine hit, constantly working and never letting yourself rest because you have to get it done right now. You're waking up exhausted every single night because your mind isn't truly resting when you go to bed. And I'm not judging you. I know who you are because this was me. I looked like I had it together, but I didn't. I was mentally going through a fight every single day. So if you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but still not seeing lasting peace or lasting progress, know that it's not because of your lack of discipline. You have discipline. That's how you have a business. It's because you lack alignment. And this is why I created the Best Believe Journal. So you can be centered and grounded and realign every single day with just 5 minutes a day. This journal has proven to help transform so many women's lives. And I know it's going to help you too. But for now, use these journal prompts to get started. What emotions have I been numbing or avoiding lately? Where in my life do I feel most out of alignment right now? What habits or mindsets trigger me and pull me out of peace? How can I anchor myself in God's truth today? And for those who already have either one of our Made by the Word journals, we do have a page that says biblical truths that will give you a whole bunch of verses and biblical affirmations to speak over yourself, to anchor yourself in God's truth. What does the aligned version of me believe, think, and do daily. What's one small shift I can make today to move me closer to that version? And if you want to grab the Best Believe journal or Just One More Day journal, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. Now that we've realigned, let's get into all the other micro habits that are super fun, super random, that I know you're going to love implementing into your life. Micro habit number 2 is scheduling dilly-dally time. I know it sounds funny, but I cannot stress this enough. Scheduling dilly-dally time makes such a big difference in having creative ideas and having flow when I'm showing up and working in my business. It gives me space to reset, not always feeling like I need to be productive or I need to be getting work done. I can show up and just be present. I know how it feels to force ideas and give myself a hard time because I wasn't having any inspiration or I couldn't figure out what to write, which left me feeling anxious and behind and stressed out because I couldn't figure out what to put on the page. And I knew that a part of my business was showing up and talking online. Forcing always gave me the mindset of rushing versus flowing from the heart. I would always wonder, why am I so anxious? But it was because I was putting so much pressure on myself to create when I had no inspiration. Dilly-dallying can look like scheduling time in your calendar to go on a walk, to go work at the coffee shop, to go try new things. This is when you'll notice the best ideas will start to come. It's also in these moments when I can hear God so clearly and I receive revelation on what to talk about, what to create, even business strategy to help propel and accelerate forward. But I wouldn't have been able to get these ideas or this revelation if I didn't take the time to dilly-dally. And my dilly-dallying may look different than your dilly-dallying. Like, you may like to fish. That's not where I would go to get creative inspiration because I'm gonna be so grossed out on putting the fish on the hook. But just know your inspiration doesn't only come from grinding and showing up in the process. It comes from being present in where you are. Micro habit number 3 is listening to voice messages on X and even YouTube videos. I know this sounds a little random and I know you've probably never heard this before as being a micro habit, but this has been a game changer for me. When I listen to voice messages on 2x speed, it allows me to process information faster without rushing because I truly value my time. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I can get voice messages where people are talking so slow, they're not getting to the point, and I want to maximize my time as best as I can. And as a business owner, you know that every moment counts. And by the way, if you talk slow, I'm not talking down on you. I talk so slow, and I know you are probably listening to me on 2x right now. Truly, this is not about being impatient. It's about understanding and valuing my time, because when I would listen to voice messages, because I would get them so often, I would start to feel stressed out and anxious and overwhelmed because I felt like I was spending so much time trying to listen to what they were saying and they weren't getting to the point, that now I either read the transcript or I'm just going to listen on 2x so that I can be more productive in my day, which then actually allows me to work on the things that matter and will move the needle forward. Trust me, this is going to keep you focused, less fluff, more clarity, because your brain is going to absorb what actually matters. And if you didn't know and you have an iPhone, all you have to do is hold the play button down on your voice messages button, and it's going to give you all the different speeds for it to play. This leads me into habit number 4, keeping my phone on Do Not Disturb. My phone is on Do Not Disturb almost the entire day. And of course, I have my important people set up to where they can contact me and push through the Do Not Disturb. But I try to limit the amount of time I'm picking up my phone when it's not needed. Because unfortunately, I am someone who gets extremely distracted by the little things. I'm not gonna ever claim that I have ADHD, but I feel like I possibly could, because I could be working on a task, I will get an alert on my phone, I will immediately pick up my phone, start texting back or looking at the notification and start doing something else. And it gets me out of my deep focused work zone. So keeping my phone on Do Not Disturb really helps me set boundaries within myself so I can actually show up in the best way that I possibly can. And this also means that I have no notifications on for any of my social medias, because then my phone would be going off the entire day. If my do not disturb is off, I still have all social media notifications turned off. I have to manually check it whenever I want to go respond to a DM or respond to comments. This has really helped my mental peace. And so I really encourage you to turn it off and just see how much this transforms your life. Because honestly, I know this is a safe space here, but when people would message me, I felt like I had to respond right in that moment. And I started to get so much anxiety. I was starting to have panic attacks. My life was actually feeling so distressed and disturbed, because it was as if I was living on their time, because as soon as I would get a message, I felt like I needed to respond right in that moment. And that's something that I see whenever I go out to eat or I go out to networking events, is that people are so attached to their phone. The second they get a notification, they're responding. And of course, I understand when your business is growing and scaling, there are certain things that you do need to respond to in a timely fashion, but it's also about having those healthy boundaries within yourself, because over time, you're going to notice that it really does affect your mental health, which causes you to be stressed and anxious as a byproduct. So I check messages when I have the emotional capacity to do so, and know that you do not have to be as extreme as me, but set some kind of boundary with yourself. You are going to thank me later. Micro habit number 5, scheduling workouts. The moment I started scheduling workouts, instead of just trying to fit them in, everything changed for me. My consistency changed. The way that I feel inside my body changed. And if working out isn't your thing, that's okay. Get some type of movement in. And you can start small just by blocking out 15 minutes in your day to take a walk outside, 15 minutes a day to go up and down the stairs. Because when you're consistently busy, your health is one of the first things to go bye-bye. You start buying coffees all the time. You continually go out to fast food restaurants because you didn't prep your meals beforehand. You neglect moving your body because you just don't have time. I've had to learn the hard way that when I don't take care of my health and when I don't take care of my body, that translates into my business and everything else that I do, which means that I don't show up in the best way that I can. I'm stressed, I'm distracted, and I'm anxious. Let me tell you, in the past 3 months, I have finally found a consistent workout routine where I am actually being consistent. I was struggling. And when I say struggling, I mean struggling. I was constantly starting, stopping, and it was not me going all in. And when I started prioritizing my health and being consistent in my workouts and showing up for myself, I noticed a shift in the way that I showed up in my business. So just a preview of what my workout schedule is. And this is my workout schedule. If you want to know, maybe it will help you. But I schedule a workout class 3 times a week using ClassPass. And I do have a link in the description that you can sign up with in case you want 20 extra points. But I just found this out 3 months ago and I am absolutely in love. And I go and I try different workout places, but I finally found like my workout home, and that's Eve. And trust me, if you ever come to Dallas, make sure you come and work out. I'll see you there. I also lift once a week, and then I walk at least 2 miles on the other days. This has truly helped my stress levels. It's helped me be a good steward. But let's say you're someone who feels like working out and movement just isn't for you, and you've tried everything and nothing is working. The biggest mindset shift for me when I was in that place is that my body is not my own. I started to show up because of the love that I had for God, and then over time, I showed up because of the love that I have for myself. And for God, of course, because I am His. Remember, when you take care of your health, that translates into your business. You're going to show up sharper, calmer, and more confident. Micro habit number 6, use a neck pillow at night or have a posture brace. I know this one's weird, but it works. Whenever I was a nurse, I had a pinched nerve in my neck to the point where I couldn't move my left arm. And what the doctor instructed me to do after I started to go to physical therapy was to switch my pillow. And ever since I got that pillow, I've never gone back. It has transformed everything for me, especially as a business owner, we're bending down looking at our screens, or we're on the computer and it's easy to be hunched back. These supports are going to help you feel aligned in your body, because when you're sleeping with this special grooved pillow, it's going to realign your spine as you're sleeping, which is going to help you wake up without that stress in your neck, without having those headaches throughout the day. Like, I promise you, if you don't try any of these, try this one. And when you're aligned physically, you're aligned mentally. Even when you walk in a room and you're standing up straight and you have this posture, that gives a different vibe and a different energy than someone who's slouched like this and they walk in the room. You can see that they're confident, that they're focused. Micro habit number 7, declutter. I know decluttering can feel like this big task in your head, taking you away from what actually matters. But even if you have to hire someone to do it, declutter. Your mental peace will be enhanced to the max, because how your space looks is a direct reflection to how you feel on the inside. And I'm still working on this one. I'm not entirely decluttered throughout my entire place, but I do pick one spot every week to just go through and clean up the space. And I just feel so much better, because more than likely you're thinking about cleaning an area. You're probably thinking right now about a spot in your home that you have been wanting to tackle for a while now. Maybe it's a junk drawer, maybe it's your closet, maybe it's your bathroom sink organizing underneath. Whatever it is, the more that you go home and you continue to see the space, you're mentally becoming fatigued, which is going to subconsciously stress you out. So in reality, you're taking up mental space by not cleaning it, when you could be using that mental space for something else that actually matters. Because you're spending so much time thinking rather than doing, which makes you anxious, which makes you tired, which makes you stressed. So when you think you're saving energy not decluttering, you're actually becoming more mentally fatigued than you realize. Micro habit number 8, monitor how many times you say no. Because everything that you're saying no to, you're saying yes to, and everything you're saying yes to, you're saying no to. Which is why I started tracking how many times I'm saying no in a day. This goes back to being super aware of my time and protecting my time, because there are so many good things that get thrown at you, but may not be the right thing for you to do in this moment. And just because you could do something doesn't mean that you should do something, or that's what God is calling you to do. The enemy likes to distract us with good so that we don't receive the great or the exceptional that God is trying to provide for us. And so he will distract us with so many shiny things that look good in the moment, which is why I have to be very intentional about what I say yes to and what I say no to, which is why I started tracking how many times I say no in a day. Even recently, I've had a bunch of DMs of women who are trying to start their business, but I know that in the season that I'm in, that is not the person that God has called me to serve. So I said no, even though yes, the money would have been great. But I knew to operate in integrity within myself and within the business that God has called me to steward. I sent those women to someone else who I know could serve them where they're at. And the thing is, I'm not going anywhere. They can come back when they're ready to scale their business, because the work that I do is for women who have already seen success in their business, and they're ready to make the subtle shifts and the tweaks to accelerate and propel forward. And me having that understanding has allowed me to move in tunnel vision, knowing that I must say no. And when you have vision in what you're doing and in your business, it guides you from those distractions. It helps you know what is the most important thing right now and how to show up. And if I would have said yes, I would have been saying no to God. If I would have said yes to the money, I would have been saying no to vision and purpose and integrity. And that's why you have to monitor the things that are coming to you and understanding what should you say no to and what should you say yes to. And something that can help you with this is really having a sheet that helps you make those decisions. Micro habit number 9, pray out loud before anything. This one micro habit has transformed my entire day. It hasn't transformed my entire life. Ever since I started implementing this, maybe like 2 years ago, is praying out loud, and also praying out loud before I do anything, before I get out the bed. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. I would say 98% of the time I'm praying immediately when I get out the bed, or I'm praying before I pick up my phone. I'm praying before I pick up my Bible, before I journal. Like, I am praying out loud and I'm speaking to the Lord, because this grounds me. And I notice when I don't do it, my soul is thirsting for it. I can feel myself and my body and my soul like desiring to get into God's presence, and that comes through prayer. So that's why you see in all of my vlogs and all of my videos where you can see my routines is me praying right when I get out of the bed. That's intentional. I don't let hours pass through my day without speaking to the Lord, because I've learned when I don't, I am stressed, I am anxious, I am ditzy, I'm all over the place, I'm not feeling aligned. It centers me. And what really activated this was Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Because it's easy to want to wake up and go straight into work and work for things. But God is saying, I will give that to you. Just seek me first. And that's why that habit was implemented. And ever since I did that, the things, they came. I operate from a place of knowing that business and faith, they coexist. It is not separate. So in order for me to be the best leader that I can be and show up and serve from a place of purpose, I must stay in connection with God, which is why John 15 is so dear to my heart that I basically have it memorized. Is because it says, when you abide in me, I will abide in you. When you bear much fruit, this is how I know you are my disciple. And so we bear fruit and we retain the harvest and the shiny things of the world, like a house or a car, or even just a peace of mind from being connected with God. But just know, sometimes you may be feeling anxious because of a spiritual attack from the enemy, not because you're doing anything wrong. Maybe you are doing all these micro habits, you are praying out loud, and sometimes it truly is just that, an attack from the enemy. And that's where you have to remind yourself who you are, stand in your authority, and rebuke, because he has no right here. Micro habit number 10, win the moment. When I have those moments of wanting to give up, I remind myself to win the moment. It shifts me out of emotion and back into purpose. It helps me follow through with keeping the words and the promises that I make to myself, which over time builds confidence in how I show up in my business. And it could be choosing the healthy meal versus the junk food and saying, win the moment. Which one are you going to pick? It could be honoring the commitment you made to finish a certain task by the end of the day, or even just showing up when you don't feel like it. How can you win the moment? And if you want to take this a little deeper, you can ask yourself, will this decision move me closer towards the vision God gave me, or move me further away? That phrase in itself helps me stay faithful to the person that I know that I am becoming, and the person that I desire to be, and the person that I know that God already destined me to be. And when you win the moment, you are building confidence in yourself, because you know you are going to show up for you. And as a byproduct, you won't feel the anxiousness of not knowing if you're going to follow through or not, because you already made the decision that you will win the moment. It makes making decisions easier when I want to respond in my flesh versus the spirit, when I want to respond based on my emotions rather than keep my word to myself. When I ask myself, how can I win the moment? It allows me to make the right decision so that I can actually move forward in my business. Because if we operate from our emotions and instead of keep our word, then it's like, how will things ever change? Habit number 11, no social media on Sundays. Your life will completely change when you implement a Sabbath day. And this is what I like to call it, do an absolutely nothing day. If someone asks me to go for coffee, I say no. This is my do absolutely nothing day. I'm relaxing, I'm resting, and I'm just preparing myself for the week ahead, doing the things that maybe I neglected throughout the week. like doing the dishes or washing my clothes or just decluttering. And again, I am not perfect, but 98% of the time I am off social media on Sundays, unless I just know that I'm waiting on a message that I want to respond to. Those are the rare occasions that I do get on social media and go against what I say. Still working on it. But Sundays are truly just my space to be. I wake up, I go to church, I make me a good breakfast, I take a nap. I do the things that I normally wouldn't do throughout my week, and it just makes me feel well rested and refreshed. And this is normally when I'll do my Sunday reset routine videos, which is like you've seen on my channel. The purpose of this is to fill up your cup because you can't pour from an empty one. Bonus! Because I love you, I want to give you a bonus micro habit. So this is micro habit number 12. Let God disrupt your plan. Every Sunday, I write out a plan for the week. This sets me up for success in my business, and I do time blocking as well. And I do have an entire productivity system. If you want me to make a video on that, just let me know in the comments. And the mindset that I like to have is that even though I made this plan and I have these time blocks, that doesn't mean I'm constricted to that. I remain flexible, knowing that God may tell me to do something else in the moment or that day when I wake up. Because there have been so many times that my day was jam-packed with things that I really thought that I needed to do. And when God told me, no, I just need you to sit with me and rest in my presence, and I was obedient to that, I understood why he told me to rest with him. Because not only was he giving me strategy, but second, he knew that that's what my soul needed. And I was going and pushing things forward when that wasn't what I was supposed to do in that time. God calls us to rest. Because in Psalms 127, 1-2, it says, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with sentries will do no good. It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to his loved ones. When I read this verse, it changed my life. And so that's how I move and I operate. I don't want to show up throughout my day and it's wasted, because that's not what God told me to do. And I've done that so many times. And this is such a great reminder that you don't need to overwork yourself to get a sale. You don't need to overwork yourself to grow and scale your business to the capacity that you think it should be. God provides for his loved ones. He will give you everything you need, and understand that it's in his timing that the harvest is going to come. And so you don't want to burn yourself to the ground and be stressed and be anxious all of the time because you're trying to make something happen in your own strength versus his. When I rested and I made the decision to sit with him versus go with my plan, he strengthened me in that moment. And I actually left that session with God, that business meeting with God, feeling refreshed and having more energy than I had before I got there. It's just like Elijah. Elijah wanted to go to sleep, but God sent the angel to wake him up, to feed him. And he didn't want to do it. He wanted to go back to sleep. But the angel woke him up and said, you must do this so you can be strengthened. And he didn't know that for 40 days he was going to be without food. But because he stopped his plan and did what God told him to do, which was eat the food, he was strengthened. God went ahead of us. Like, he knows what we need. And this is where we must surrender the need to know why. Surrender the need to know how. And just move when he tells us to move, because he is Lord of our life. And this is truly his business. He is going to do what he wants with it. And if he's giving you this vision and this dream on your heart, know that he's not going to fail you. And when you try these habits and maybe they don't seem to stick, don't shame yourself. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about doing the best that you can and continuing to be resilient and showing up and doing it again and again until it becomes a habit. And don't think you have to implement all 12 of these habits tomorrow. I encourage you to pick 2 and start habit stacking. Add it with a habit that you already do as a routine, whether it's journaling while you drink your coffee in the morning, doing movement while you listen to a podcast. This is what's going to propel you forward and change your life and change your business so that you exit your stressed out era. And remember, sometimes God will use resistance and disruption to show you where you're operating in your own strength instead of His. You don't have to do this on your own. He is with you through this entire process. If this encouraged you, make sure to drop a comment and let me know which habit you're going to be implementing this week. And don't forget to add me on Instagram at mikaelainspires or check out my podcast, Business Redefined, on all podcast platforms. And don't wait until January. Start right now. Okay, love you. Bye.